Jones, a Hillary Clinton supporter, Philip Bump and Jonathan Martin are still with me. And Scotty, let me just start with you on one of the things we heard in that piece. One of Donald Trump's supporters warning of a civil war if Clinton wins, and another one predicting that Democrats will kill Trump if he wins. Does this sort of rhetoric concern you? We're talking about civil war. We're talking about blood on the streets. We're talking about killing somebody.
Absolutely. That piece was very troubling, I'll be honest with you, Aaron, and I hated to hear that. And unfortunately, I believe that even if you went to a Hillary Clinton rally, we hear that same story. It's existing on both sides, as both groups, I think, are very frustrated with the path America's on right now, and they're very passionate about it. And as we continue to get closer, we're 18 days away, you're seeing that sort of passion turn to anger, and in some cases, like what we're hearing, turn to hatred. But it's not just on the Trump side, it's also on both sides of the campaigns right now. And I think you have to look at where's the source of it, where this might be coming as a grassroots from the people themselves. We have seen, thanks to WikiLeaks and thanks to the Project Veritas videos, that this is something that the Democrats have been planning all along. This is a part of it to show, to encourage violence or to talk about violence as Trump supporters are and demonize them in that way. That came from WikiLeaks, from one of their power play slides that they said that they needed to talk about insulting and violent folks. And now we have the videos where they actually encouraged and trained people to go into Trump rallies to encourage violence. So we need to take a step back and try to figure out how we're going to start trying to mend this country together, and that needs to start happening sooner than Election Day and not necessarily the day after.
Now, Van, I want to get your response. I do just want to clarify for anyone who's not familiar with the video that you're referring to, Scotty. This is a video that was put out by a man who has sort of done this thing before, these videos. It was an edited video. He is a convicted criminal. I'm just saying this just so people understand the facts. And the people who are responsible, though, in the video, both have been removed from their jobs. They did not directly work for the Clinton campaign. Okay, they did say some bad things in the video. They did. I just to making sure everyone understands all of the parts of this so that they understand the context. Oh. Van, can you respond, though, to what Scotty had to say?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not even Steven. You've seen a lot more violent rhetoric and a lot more violence coming from the Trump side. That's just obvious. Yeah. I can't. The Hillary Clinton rallies are so boring that people, don't even go to them. So I think, yes, your whole point is that nobody goes. So you cannot pretend that it's even Steven. I also want to say that you said a high-ranking Democrat was involved. In fact, the high-ranking Democrat said even in these doctored, trumped-up videos that the Trump Foundation paid for and gave it to someone whose name should be Pinocchio because he put out so many false videos, even in the trumped-up video, Creamer is quoted as saying he would not touch this horrible scheme with a 10-foot pole. So I just want to point out that we shouldn't be relying on somebody who's again and again put out false videos. That said, I am very concerned about the direction that things are going. Trump, I think, has an opportunity to clarify to people that he believes in America, he believes in our system, and that when he is out there and he's saying that everything is rigged, he wasn't saying that when he was up in the polls. He's only saying it now. I think it's very reckless what he's been doing.
All right, so today at a rally, Vice President Joe Biden was there, Philip. Okay, he was slamming Trump for the comments he made to Billy Bush in the Access Hollywood tape, and he made a remark that I think was pretty clear. Anyone who listened to it is going to realize he was talking about physical violence. Let me just play it.
The press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
Now, is that something Joe Biden should apologize for? I mean, is this the sort of thing where if Donald Trump said it, everybody would be up in arms? He's implying that there should be physical violence. Sure, I mean, that's what we're hearing from Joe Biden.
Right. I mean, yes. I mean, I think that Joe Biden is Joe Biden. I think the Democrats have given up on trying to get Joe Biden to apologize for things he says. Right. But I think it's also important that if Donald Trump had said that, it comes within the context of Donald Trump having run for a year and a half, basically run on a campaign of fear. And I think it's disingenuous to frame it in any other way. I think part of what you heard there, the gentleman who came to the reporter and insulted the reporter as he was conducting the interview, right? That flows directly from the candidate himself. So yes, I mean, I think that what Joe Biden said is stupid. I don't think Joe Biden's going to apologize. I think that most Democrats are going to go along with it. I don't think it helps the discourse at all, but I don't think it's comparable to if Donald Trump had said the same thing, given how Donald Trump has acted.
Right. And Scotty, what do you say to the point that Philip raises about, that man who came, to our reporter, Martin Savin, and just said pigs? I mean, because that does come from Donald Trump. This is a big part of his rallies every time, chanting CNN sucks, yelling out that the media are horrible and disgusting people.
Well, of course I don't like it as a member of the CNN family, and I experienced it this week on both sides, from both the Hillary camp and the Trump camp, while we were in Vegas. But there was a latest Quinnipiac poll said that 55% of all Americans and 9 out of 10 Republicans believe that Donald Trump has been treated unfairly by the media. So there's a lot of frustration, and that's something that we're going to have to talk about. But just one quick point. Let me point out, talking about violence, the majority of the violence has happened to Trump supporters in the GOP this election season. We were firebombed. Our headquarters were firebombed last Saturday. The night before, there were cars. There were the night before at a Trump Pence rally, cars were completely.
Black people have been
but now
beaten
why?
at your rallies.
Why have they been? Have they been trained to go in there? No. There's a lot more. No.
Scotty, are you really saying that the black people in the rallies that were beaten up were put in there by Democratic operatives on purpose to be beaten up? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, some of them actually claim that. You look at the Chicago rallies that happened and the violence that happened at Chicago rallies, and now you have this group. And yes, Bob Kramer is married to a congresswoman. As Van Jones told me last week, every Democrat probably knows who he is if they're in Washington, D.C. because he has been so involved with them. So you can't just say he's nobody.
Yes, Jonathan. Okay, jump in here, Jonathan.
So 3 fast points. First of all, Joe Biden is not helping the Democratic cause to stay on the high ground when he makes those kind of comments. Second of all, to what Scotty is saying, there's not remotely a comparison here in terms of the two candidates' rhetoric. Donald Trump offers the kind of inflammatory comments that we have not seen in modern American history. Hillary Clinton does not say those kinds of things. And then lastly, in terms of what that report showed in North Carolina, I think it's important to point out that a Donald Trump rally consists of a self-selected audience. The people who are showing up there for that event feel very strongly about politics, and so it might not be the best sample of the American electorate writ large, because those are folks who are passionate enough to show up at a campaign rally in the middle of a weekday.
So Donald Trump today has come out, and as you all know, whether this election is rigged, whether he's going to accept the election, is now an unprecedented and crucial part of the conversation. Today, back again, firmly saying the election is rigged. Let me play it.
Remember, folks, it's a rigged system. Just remember it. It's a rigged system. It's a rigged system. Don't ever forget it. That's why you got to get out and vote. You got to watch, because this system is totally rigged.
Is that helpful, Van, when he says you got to watch, people go to their precincts and watch other people vote?
Well, first, I do think it's important, what was said before, that it's a minority of a minority of people, even at the rallies, who are doing, these kinds of things. I think that's important to say.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't think it's helpful when he implies, and there's been a persistent pattern now of implying that the inner cities, in other words, in his world where black people live, that's where there's going to be some horrible thing going on and you've got to watch or whatever. I think that is horribly unfair. It plays along with a particular set of Republican ideas that, black people are criminals, black people are the pawns of Democrats, who are the puppet masters, having all that sort of stuff. And I think it is very, very disrespectful and unfair. It does not help the Republican Party to have their standard bearer furthering these stereotypes about black people stealing elections.
All right, Scotty, you began it, so Van will end it. Thanks very much to all of you.